Hello and welcome to another update video about Solana. So Solana, we start at the daily time frame. Yeah, it's starting to look really concerning. I mean, nothing unexpected is happening. We've been talking about that now for weeks, that we expect further downside. There was a potential for short-term upside, and the expectation would have been to then come down or for a sell-off straight away. But we never broke above this critical $15 level. So the $15 level was sort of the level above which, in my opinion, that short-term upside potential would have been unlocked. Now, that was never broken. Yeah, it actually touched the ceiling at $15 and then broke down again. Certainly not bullish. And no, there is nothing bullish about this chart at the moment, nothing remotely bullish. So we follow the bearish expectation here of still lower lows. And as I said before, we have to expect further downside until we see a first trend reversal signal. Now, in how far this current sell-off has to do with Alameda again or something else doesn't really matter in terms of the chart analysis, because for us as technical analysts, it's mainly important what is happening, not so much why something is happening, because the reasons for a price move don't really matter when you analyze the data. It's more about, what does the market do, where are the prices, and how does that affect market sentiment as well. That's what the Elliott waves are telling us. That is how we can use the Fibonacci retracement levels, and that is the first reason for concern here on this chart, because, as I explained many times before, already in May and June and so on, that even though Solana was still holding that level at the time, but that any coin that drops substantially below the 88.7% Fib level is in deep trouble. It doesn't mean this coin has to die, but it certainly puts the coins onto a list of extremely high risk. And anybody who's still buying or holding or whatever Solana needs to understand that. Yeah, I can't say it often enough. That Solana is on the high risk, extremely high risk coins. And not only Solana, many coins are on that list, especially altcoins, because they have dropped below the 88.7% level. Now, to be fair, many coins also in the last bear market dropped below that level and they did recover. But also many coins dropped below that level in the last bear market and never recovered. So there are many coins that walk onto the graveyard and never escape. Could Solana be one of them? Yeah, I mean, nobody knows, and that's the problem. Yeah, nobody knows. But what we can do as analysts, traders and investors, we can identify extremely high risk assets, and we can look at the chart and we can try to identify possible targets for a low, and we can, look at possible swing trade opportunities. But anybody who's trying to swing trade Solana at the moment, if you try to be on the long side, I think you're going to have a hard time. Now, at some point, there might be a bit of a relief rally or something, but let's be honest, I think we are now in an environment, especially if a coin is dropping so much below the 88.7% Fib level, that a lot would need to happen to convince not only me, you as well, and the masses, yeah, it's all mass psychology here, to convince the retail investors that there is still something going on here, yeah, because the 88.6, I mean, these Fib levels are not different, or essentially these Fib levels, they are a mathematical pattern of sentiment, you could say, and they show us, they give us an indication of market sentiment. And if the price of any asset drops so far below that 88.7 level, then it is a major reason for concern. Therefore, I am still very bearish on Solana. This hasn't changed. Certainly not convincing what's happening here. The move to the downside has been quite bearish anyway. Yeah, for example, we have here a WXY scenario. This is still the bullish scenario. I mean, I'm showing you here still a bullish scenario, a wave one to the upside, because this is an impulsive move, in my opinion. And the move down as a WXY structure, a complex correction. But the problem here, even with this WXY, is that the X wave at the time was so weak, it only reached the 38.2% retracement. Ideally, it should have moved higher at the time as well. Didn't do that, so it was quite weak already back then. And it dropped below, the 88.7% Fib level. I can't say it often enough. Now, if we look at that last wave down, if we say we are in the Y wave, we've got here in this scenario an A wave to the downside, which was very strong, that sell-off. yeah, which was unfortunate, because it now makes it very difficult to calculate targets to the downside, because I'm basically at the limits what I can do. Yeah, in terms of now calculating downside targets, there is not much more I can do as an analyst. So it either turns around now or it will die. You know, we are now in an area where, I mean, you know, look at, I mean, we've come from, you know, $267. We're now at $9. So either it turns around now, or it will die. It doesn't really matter if I tell you, oh, it's going to turn around at $7, $6, $5. This, you can't even specify that anymore, because any way of how I can calculate a target would take us to close to zero or lower than zero. Why is that? Because, for example, one way of calculating targets with the Elliott waves, you take the length of the A wave, go to the high of the B wave, and then you're looking at the 1-to-1 ratio. Well, see where that would take us, okay? Right, what else do we have? We have another option. We can take here the length of the wave 1, because this is in the C wave, a 5-wave move down. So we could take the length of the wave 1, and we go to the high of the wave 2. And then also here, we're looking actually at the 2.618 extension for the wave 5 down. Yeah, didn't really work out, right? Because we get into the negative. I mean, no. Okay. So another way then is I would go into even this last wave of the last wave, so the wave 5 in red here, which should ideally really end the bear market at some point. But again, we've dropped so low that I wouldn't trust it. So here we could take the length of the wave 1, go to the high of the wave 2. If I look for the 2.618 extension, it also takes us into the negative. The only next logical target for me would be the 1-to-1 ratio. That's around $7. We talked about that. That's why I wouldn't be surprised to get into this area. And then below that, we have a cluster of support in the region between, yeah, $4.50 pretty much all the way down to 0. So at the latest, this is the area where it needs to turn around or it will die. It is what it is. You know, we can't. It is certainly following at the moment this bearish wave count we talked about here, that this is a wave 3, in my opinion, very likely due to the strength of the sell-off at the moment. So not really any surprise. Minimum target here would be the 1-to-1 ratio. Therefore, we talk about the $7 level, then a wave 4 up, ideally, and the wave 5 down, and then, yeah, maybe touching the $4 to $5 level. And then you can't specify it further. That's it. You know, that's where we are. At some point, you're at the limits of what technical analysis can do. And this is still the bullish scenario, because I'm still hoping, well, don't really, you know, not hoping. Hoping is the wrong word, but as an analyst, I mean, the expectation has to be that a coin or an asset will recover, because the other way around, there's no point analyzing it, because if you analyze it and say, you know, the asset will die, then yeah, you can short it and that's it, you know. But the possibility exists. Yeah, we just need to raise that awareness. Obviously, I make these videos also to warn you, yeah, not to talk Solana down in any way. I think, you know, it's one of the decent crypto projects out there. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm not here to judge it. I'm just here to look at the chart, tell you what I see in as much as possible objective way. And I know that you know that I tend to do that as good as it's possible. I mean, what we could try to use a log chart if we get any more insights here, because if the linear chart doesn't really give us any more target options, you know, can we see anything on the log chart? You know, does that help us? Would that give us any indication? And here, what can we see? Does it help us? So if we say, all right, we had here the wave 1 to the downside, let's see if the Fibonacci extensions on the log chart give us other insights, and they would, yeah, and they would. So here we've got target for the 1.618 extension, takes us to $6.40. I will add that to the chart now, so we've got another target. Yeah, so the 1.618 extension, and then the 2.618 extension, which would be the textbook target for the wave 5, would take us to 375. So let's see if that will give us some clarity here, because also what they say in Frost and Prechter, in one of the Elliott Wave Bibles, they do say if you can't move any further with the linear chart, by all means try the log chart if that works. You know, there is no right or wrong here. I usually tend to use the linear chart, but also have to say there might be scenarios where the linear chart doesn't give you any insights anymore. Like here, you know, when you get to the end of what the linear chart is capable of doing, then it's probably best to choose something else which might be able to help you. So we've identified here now, let me add that to the chart now, another support area then. So let's see if we will adhere to that. we should then from here see a wave 4 retracement. That should be a shallow one. We will be able to calculate that if we get into this wave 3 target area. I might be able to do that now. So let's just to get a rough idea. So let's say we follow the log chart. Let's say we get into this region here to around $6.40. Then the wave 4 retracement should get into this region between 785 and 982. Basically here. And then we should move down into this area around 370. But we will be able to specify that a bit further as soon as we get the wave 4 high in. Okay, that's my update about Solana. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.